Tonight, Kansas is the race that marks having only 4 more chances to make the chase. The 2 very prestigious races up ahead, including Darlington's throwback race and the endurance race at Charlotte. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Eliza Bethel alongside Pete Ruzick. I hope you guys are having a great night. Pete, how are you doing tonight?
Eliza, I'm actually doing pretty well. Glad to be back. Yeah, Kansas was pretty hyped up last week. Glad we're here. The car seems to be handling very, very well. If you love to handle a loose race car around that outside, but can't spend a whole bunch of time there because it'll wear out the tires on the bottom, felt pretty good as well. It's going to be a phenomenal night of racing. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm ready to see how these guys handle Kansas. I think it's going to be a fun one. But before we get to that, we do have a driver spotlight. So let's go ahead and pull that up. Tonight, joining us is going to be veteran driver Matthew Opliger. You guys have heard him in the booth. He's got those wins. He does amazing out there. He is the pilot of the number 20 for SFI Esports. Matthew, how you doing out there tonight?
Doing good.
Glad to hear it. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with the interview. So the first question, I want you to describe Kansas with one word.
Pasty. I'll use pasty.
Okay. Very interesting. I haven't heard that word yet, but there we go.
Not sure if it's a word, but we'll go.
We made it up just now. Sounds good.
Invented my own.
Sounds good. All right, what is your favorite aspect of driving the Gen 6 and your least favorite?
Oh, a good question. Favorite, probably just on short tracks at least, the tire wear, how spread out it could be, how much a driver can make the difference. Least favorite, probably just how little the driver can make the difference on some tracks, including a mile and a half, like we might see today, but hopefully not.
Hopefully, for sure. All right, what is a hobby you enjoy outside of racing?
I'd like to think I'm pretty good at bowling.
I love bowling.
Yeah.
So what's the highest score you've ever gotten?
221, I think.
Oh, okay. So you're like 3 times better than I am. So. Yeah, I think 120 is like my max.
That was like a long time ago, but
really?
221. Yeah, that was like 2 years ago.
Okay, fair enough. Have you been in any leagues?
While. Yeah, I was in a league for 2 or 3 years, but I quit
Gotcha.
2 or last season's ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. If you were hired as a driver in real life, what series would you want to drive in?
Probably just the Cup Series, I guess. The highest form of racing, so.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it seems to be very challenging, and a lot of people, some people say different series, but I would definitely want to be in the Cup Series because it is the highest up there, and I just have a love for the Cup Series for sure.
Yep.
All right, final question. What is your favorite driver and your favorite paint scheme in real life? It doesn't have to be the same for the driver and the scheme.
Well, my favorite driver is probably Christopher Bell, and then my favorite scheme is the Mobile One scheme that he used.
Okay, well, pretty much what we got here, so.
Yeah, it's kind of an imitation of that. Kind of added some of my own stuff, but yeah, pretty much that.
Fair enough. Yeah. All right, Matthew. What do you think about tonight? Are we going to see a lot of chaos? I know different lines can be ran. It's looking very, very loose out there. So how are you feeling tonight?
Well, I've only done 1 lap, but hopefully, hopefully it does get loose. I have no idea, but hopefully it does. It'll separate the field a little bit, but maybe some people might self-spin and some whatnot, so hopefully just don't see that, and it'll be a good race. Keep it green for 30-40 laps at a time.
Absolutely. I am with you on that 100%. I want to thank you for coming out here and chatting with us in the booth, and I wish you a ton of luck out there. Not that you need it, because, I mean, your season has been pretty darn good out here. But yeah, good luck, and I hope the race goes well for you.
Thank you.
All right, Pete. We are getting ready to go to qualifying in a few minutes. Do you have any predictions of what we're going to see tonight, or who we will see be out there as a winner?
I tell you, after watching the 78 of Brian Pizzicami, one of the guys that stepped away from racing last year, he's absolutely come back. He has been very, very strong. He's run a whole lot of laps. He's been able to talk me through some of the nuances of this car at this track, and the high line momentum, the high line drivability of the car, how loose it can be up there, how much you gotta kind of drive off the right rear, and what the balance is like on the bottom versus the top. I think Brian Pizzicami is going to be one to watch this evening, and as always, you can never discount him from being up closer to the front. He really sounded very confident. I think Pizzicami's going to have one hell of a race, and I'd love to see him in victory lane. How about you?
Yeah, that would be crazy. I mean, he's talked about how much he loves this set. It is very loose, I will say. You can see him getting slideways up there. He loves it against the wall, so I think he's going to do well. We've seen him in the top 10 after several of these races. I want to see him in the booth after. We'll see if tonight is his race. And Papa Bear, we're missing you out here tonight. He was going to be a driver spotlight. Unfortunately, he could not make it, so we will have to make it for another time. But we got to talk about Izzy and Jay out here. They have the natural soap products, and they do beard balms, tattoo butters that benefit your family and the planet. I know that Pete has talked about his family using it to help clear some cuts. And I know if your skin is just very susceptible and to just any kind of harsh soap, definitely give this company a try. And since we're talking about that, let's take a look at this paint scheme out there. Rivers Jones Revenant Racing, an Izzy and Jay paint scheme. Take a look at that. What a beautiful scheme he made himself, Pete.
Yeah, Izzy and Jay actually picked Rivers to run with their company information on that car. Car looks absolutely amazing. He's got a couple of different renditions of it. One with the Izzy and Jay's logo on the front. Another one with the beard bomb. There we go. Logo on the front. Beer bomb. Yeah, why not?
It's a tongue twister.
There you go. But yeah, it was actually really, really cool. The company is Izzy and Jay's. Izzy is a 18-year-old getting ready to graduate high school. Jay is an 11-year-old. Jay actually heard us talking a whole lot about Rivers Jones, and he got a hold of me and said, this guy seems fast. Can he put, can he make a paint scheme with Izzy and Jay's on it? And I reached out to Rivers. He was more than happy to do it. And there you see that number 91. He's got the main Izzy and Jay's logo on the hood. He's got the beard balm logo on the back, and he's also got another one with the beard that'll be on a different rendition. He's put a ton of time, and he's shown a lot of pride in doing this. And he's fast everywhere. I'm looking to see these colors run up front often tonight.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be fun, and Rivers always does a fantastic job. So great pick to run their paint scheme for sure. And man, practice finished abruptly. Here we go. We're going to head on over to qualifying. We'll see how these drivers do out here. But man, it is going to be slick. I'm a little curious to see how they handle it out here on this loose track. But I want to give a shout out to all you guys out in chat. Let's go through. Stacka, what's up? I hope you're doing well. Papa, I hope you're doing well. Polish out here, out on track. We've seen him. This will be a second time this season being out here, and hopefully he'll be full time in a couple of weeks. It'll be great to have him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the more the merrier. I believe tonight we got just about 30 Gen 6 Cup drivers ready to tackle everything once qualifying and the warm up is done. Right now, I see the 61 of Mike out there, the 2 of Josh Taylor, the 93, and so many more. I'm actually kind of surprised that they're out there so early. Right now, track temp shows to be right around 118 with a 12-mile-per-hour wind. That wind could play a little bit of a factor in the race as well as qualifying this evening. We'll have to see.
You will definitely have to see. Maddie, I see out there too. Want to give a shout out. Evan, hope you guys are doing well. Austin Mitty currently out there in the Hooters car. Thomas Harmon, he is out there trying to get his lap time in. Let's see if we have any on the board. None just yet. So we'll keep in touch to see when these guys are going to put down those lap times. But a lot of drivers currently out, and Josh Taylor will be the first one to put in a lap time. He goes to P2 with Jordan McGraw sitting pole currently 31:68. Now, the times that we saw in practice were around 31.21. Could have been a little bit of draft in there, but we'll see what these guys can do. I have a feeling all of these drivers will hang down low to try to get those times.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan McGraw, he's going to be back out there this evening with his old Sega colors. Very, very fast. Looking forward to the race. Have to see, but he's definitely one that you look for a little bit later in the race if he doesn't get caught up in something else prior to. Usually, if he's able to put a whole race together without any kind of an issue, usually he's pretty good for a top 10.
Take a look at this. Joe Burr goes to the top of the board, 31:16. Thomas Harmon in second with a 31:25. David Moransky, he is out here in that 21 machine with a 31:33, sitting P3. Josh Taylor in that 2 car, sitting fourth with a 31:35. And rounding out that top 5 is going to be Jordan McGraw with a 31:42. Andrew Sanford looking pretty good out there with a P6 currently on the board. We'll see. We only have 13 drivers out there so far. Now 14. We'll see where they end up.
Yeah, Joe Berg actually just went to the top with the 68 of Tom Harmon right behind. So these guys starting to trickle just a little bit more and more, heading out on pit road to put in their best, their fastest time. What do you think, Liza? You think it's going to be around the bottom that gets it done, or you think it's going to be around the top to build and carry that momentum off the high side?
You know, if you're talking about in race, most of these guys are going to run down low. Now, I think if you want to get a run on somebody, you want to try to make those moves, you're going to use the high side. You don't want to stay there, though. It does chew up those tires. And if we can get those long runs tonight, you have to make sure you're going to take care of them. It's extremely loose. A lot of drivers complaining about 1 and 2 being extremely loose. We'll see how they handle it, but they have a lot on their plate tonight as far as handling the set goes. But I think that high side will be extremely strong for making passes and carrying that momentum.
Yeah, Kansas Motor Speedway notorious for that high side. This is where the famed Dale Jr. slide job came from. And I imagine that we might see a slide job or two as the night rolls on. I have to see. You can get it done. I know in the trucks you can slide around this place fairly well. Not too familiar with the Gen 6 here at Kansas, but I think either way it's going to be a phenomenal show. And right now Joe Berg still holding off all competition.
How about that? Good for him, man. He's looking extremely strong. That is faster than what we saw out in practice. So fantastic lap time for him. And Jose Ruiz coming in with the heater at 31:24, right behind, sitting P2. Great for him. We have Brendan Book that was out in third. He has moved down to fifth, but looking strong. John Honeycutt sitting P4th with a 31.31. And I see you, Papa says, in a new house, 2 gig of internet. Can't beat that. That is so much internet. I bet iRacing is amazing currently.
Oh, I would imagine that's like immediate load and out on track. That's actually really, really cool. That should be no lag issues and everything else that goes right with it. We all know how iRacing is cut down on drivers that if you're blinking a bunch, it'll kick you right from the server. So good for you.
Absolutely. I want to go ahead and take a look as we're entering warm up for these guys. Track analysis for Kansas. It is 134 laps tonight. Zero fast repairs. No surprise there whatsoever. We're going to have stage 1 is going to be 40 laps. So at the conclusion of lap 40, the top 10 drivers will receive bonus points on where they are finishing out. First place is going to receive 10 points, while 10th place will receive 1 point. And they will have 4 sets of those fresh Goodyear tires to make sure they can do what they need to do out there as far as making moves. I think you can go pretty much anywhere on this track, but it is loose. I'm going to warn you, it is extremely loose, and you're going to see these guys get a little tail happy going around these corners.
Yeah, looking and thinking about the way that these cars are going to handle in practice, the track temp was up in the mid to high 120s. Right now, it's right around 118, so not much of a change from qualifying. And if it gets any warmer, it's going to loosen things up a little bit more. Cools off, you're going to get a little bit more grip. So I mentioned it earlier that Brian Pizzicemi was talking about how much you're really going to have to be a bit of a wheelman in order to hold on to these things. We were watching some people just completely all kinds of slideways going through the corners on the high side, but a little bit more snug on the bottom. So I think it's going to be a great race. You're going to see those that are up high kind of wearing out their stuff, but also carrying all that big momentum up and off the corner. Meanwhile, the guys on the bottom maybe trying to conserve just a little bit, maybe be down there for a bit more of the long run. Varying strategies. At the end, we'll have to see whose strategy is best and who celebrates in victory lane.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how much of 3 and 4 wide are we going to see? We've seen it all season long. I mean, this package for this car really sends these guys extremely close together. So you have to have a lot of patience. We didn't see a lot of that at Pocono, and we saw many cautions just because of that. So if these drivers want to keep those long green flag runs, we have to see the patience. We have to take care of each other, take care of those tires. We already had some drivers, blow their tires up out in practice after running about 30, 40 laps. So that will be interesting if we see that.
Yeah, it really will. And one thing I really, really like in and all around the 45-minute practice, give or take, didn't really see a whole lot of spinning except for those getting loose up on the high side. I didn't really see too many throttle issues or anything like that. It really looked like it was just straight car control on the on these tires up in an already loose line. So we'll have to see. They've had plenty of time to get on out there. We've had plenty of time to see what to expect. Some with the long run, like you mentioned, others with short runs. So yeah, again, it's all going to come down to those that were out here for the entire duration of the practice. Maybe some that were burning the wick at both ends during the week, getting ready for this race. I'm looking forward to it. We got just about a minute yet to go before we go over the grid and set these guys on fire.
Now look at what you see right here. Rivers Jones on board with him and just absolutely slideways, fishtailing through the corner. He's going to dive it down low, tuck into that apron right there, which is exactly what I was doing around these corners. A driver up ahead getting extremely loose into the wall. He's going to lose a piece of his car. But man, we could see, it's possible to see some carnage out there from drivers getting extremely loose coming off these exits and around corners.
Yeah, I mean, you watch him come off, and the wheel was already at 12 o'clock. So that tells me he's doing an awful lot of sawing on that wheel. You saw him behind Jordan McGraw in that Sega machine and just carrying the speed off the corner all the way down the backstretch into turns 3 and 4. Again, very, very fast all the way through. But we heard it. You've got to be able to handle that machine, manhandle it around some pretty loose turns.
All right, Chad, let me know if you have a driver you want to see win tonight or you just know is going to win. Let us know. Who's your driver tonight? Who do you see in the booth? It'll be interesting. We got to go through who we've seen as winners. Maggio got 3 wins so far. He got his 3rd one last week at Pocono. But
Yep.
we're going on over to the race, so let's get this readied up. And as these guys are getting ready to go to grid, we have Joe Berg on pole in that 93 machine with a 31.166. Jose Ruiz is going to be on his outside. And row 2, we're going to have Thomas Harmon in the 68 with John Honeycutt to his outside. Row 3 is going to be Brennan Book in that 5 machine with David Moransky in the 21. Jared Cardwell, P7 with Matt Sisler in 8th. And in row 5 is going to be Josh Taylor with Francis Hamilton to his outside.
Yeah, P11 looks like John Jurgensmeyer with Rivers Jones in the 91 to his outside. So that's going to round out the top 12. P13 looks like Jordan McGraw in that Sega, number 34 for Team FTR, with Joe Turley in that 13, sitting P14. P15, Brody Falker in that 42, with Steven Maggio, again, last week's winner at Pocono, in that 51, sitting P16. P17, Andrew Sanford in the 37, and Matt Opliger in the 20, sitting P18. P19, Austin Mitty in the 9, and to round out the first 10 rows, it looks like Jamie Wright in the 03, sitting P20.
In 21st, we have Luke Allen, the 7 car, with Micah Allard in the sitting P22. 23rd is going to be Matthew Gale with 24th as Philip Bridgman. And 25th is going to be Dylan Robb in the 16 machine with William Roberts sitting P26. P27 is Jimmy Cocker in the 11 machine with Evan Knupp is sitting 28. 29th is going to be Tom Flitcroft in that 8 car with P30 going to be Connor Cunningham.
Brian Pizzakemi in that number 78, as always, going to try to start from the back, sitting P31. 32nd is going to be Kevin Dallator, and that is our full 32 car field here in the Shake and Bake iRacing Gen 6 Cup Series, live from Kansas Motor Speedway. Ladies and gents, sit back. We're getting ready to roll. Pace lights on the pace car are out. Green flag is going to be out. Let's go.
We're getting ready to go. There goes the pace car right there. And these drivers are lined up for 134 laps here at Kansas. Here we go, green. Watch them as they go over the yellow brick road, I'm going to call it.
Why not? Why not? Going into turns 1 and 2. Joe Berg on that bottom side, able to get a little bit of a commanding lead. Tom Harmon behind. Jose Ruiz up high in the new McDonald's colors for him. And then it looks like the 5 of Brendan Book, the 12 right there with Jarrett Cardwell, Dave Moransky, and John Honeycutt to go over the top 8. And Eliza, I am seeing all lines right now being used up. They were just about 3 wide coming off the exit of 4.
Oh, they are 3 wide mid-pack. It's going to involve quite a few drivers out here. We have the 61 in the middle of the number 20 with this Matthew Opliger, and the 03, Jamie Wright. And we had a couple of more. The 00 making contact. That's going to be Jurgensmeyer. He is out there 3 wide with the 48 and the 13. Just 3 wide everywhere. These guys are wild. It is so loose out here. I am surprised we're not making more contact, but man, it is looking a little sketchy, Pete.
Yeah, they are. They are absolutely coming through the tribal, using every bit of the apron and the racetrack. Right now, the 2 of Josh Taylor in the middle. Might have made a little bit of contact up high with the 45, but everybody's hanging on to it. Still, 3 and 4 as the 48 makes some contact with the wall off of turn 2. That Detroit Tigers machine, very, very strong last week. I'm sure he's going to be up front a little bit later on tonight, but needs to keep that machine on the track.
On board with Jarrett Cardwell, and you can just see the mayhem and chaos going on behind him. Drivers underneath the apron just fanned out everywhere, looking for a spot, looking for a position, going on that high side, looking for some momentum. We'll see what they can find, but man, a lot of racing going on, and this is only lap 4.
Yeah, lap 4, but up 9 spots to P number 3. Look at that. Izzy and Jay's number 91. Up 9 spots inside the top 3, all over the back end of that 68 Rosen machine for Tom Harmon. We talked about some momentum up high. He has gained every single spot as he continues to run that Kyle Larson line, trying for the second place.
Joe Berg looking fantastic out there, still leading the field. Thomas Harmon in second, as Pete said. Rivers Jones in third. We're going to have Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, always a strong car out here, sitting 7 spots up from where he started. Brennan Book, he is in P4 currently. Jose Ruiz, he is started off in second, but P7 currently.
Yeah, Brody Falker, another one that's also up 9 spots. Actually make that 10 as he goes ahead and takes over the P4, making it 11 spots up right behind the number 5 of Brendan Book as Rivers Jones goes to the lead.
Rivers Jones looks like he's going to pull up right in front of Joe Berg, and these guys are going to go side by side for the lead heading into lap 7 and turn 1. Joe Berg with a nose out, and I'll tell you what, that high side is beautiful for that momentum, but it tears those tires up and it can get very loose. You can see these drivers on the low side just carrying it back up the track, using every piece of it they can.
That's a little bit further back, just outside the top 10. Talking about the 61 right now, Micah Allard sitting P11, up 11 spots. So Micah looking very strong this evening as well. He going through the through the front stretch, if you want to call it that, the one and only car down on the apron. One thing you got to worry about with going down there and so many cars on track, Eliza, as they're 3 wide just ahead of them, nobody's got to let you back up on track. So if you go down there to try to advance your position and somebody is to your direct outside, I wouldn't want to be. I don't know if I'd want to be in that situation, because you go into turn 1 on the apron, you're coming up track, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, you got to play the risk out. Is it worth going down there and coming up? Sometimes you're going to run into it being 3 wide, and you didn't know it was 3 wide. You come up the track, and there's an accident. But we have 3 wide currently, the 61, the 23, and the 2. They go down to 2 wide. Jarrett Cardwell in that 12 machine directly behind, but these guys starting to thin out a little bit more. Meanwhile, Joe Berg, he's got a 2/10 lead over Rivers Jones, who is going side by side for second with Brendan Book.
Yeah, Brody Falker for just a moment thought he might want a piece of that, try to take it 3 wide. He's got the 00 Jurgensmeyer, or did for just a moment there, right behind him. Maybe think about a little bit of a push. Didn't quite work out like that, but here he goes now on the bottom, 91.5, 42, 3 wide for P2.
Yeah, 91 looking very loose on that high side, but he held on to it. But Brody Falker and Brennan Book going 2 wide, a lot of 2 wide all throughout the field. Lap 11 of 134. Don't forget, at the end of lap 40, we will have the end of stage 1. And with only 4 races, including tonight, left before the chase, every point, every position matters. And I'll tell you what, that 42 and that 91, almost a collision there going to the high side.
And not exactly sure what happened with Tom Flitcroft. Got a notification that he went off track. I find him now down a couple spots, sitting way back in 31st, all by his lonesome. I don't see any damage to that number 8 Bud machine, so he might just be hoping for that caution sooner than later, hoping that he doesn't go a lap down.
See if we can find out what exactly happened. We'll get a replay on it. Currently sitting in that replay behind the 63, the 7, right above him. He's on that seam, which makes me a little nervous that he's going to makes contact with that 7, flies through the grass, and is able to hold on to it so far as he makes a huge detour. Unfortunately, that's going to put him in the position where he is now.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate for Tom Flitcroft. Very, very fast last week. Won the All-Star race, so he's going to have those bragging points or bragging rights for a full year. Back up front, though, Brendan Book able to take the lead from the 93 of Joe Berg. Steven Maggio, last week's winner, right back in those Aflac colors, up to P3, up 13 spots, and Brody Falker right behind.
Yeah, Maggio's got 3 wins so far, so he is on a roll. We had a few drivers that got their 2nd win 2 races in a row. Opliger had 2 wins. Daytona Road Course was his last win. Dover, Jimmy Cocker saw his 2nd win. He got it at Dover and Daytona. We had the All-Star race, which saw Flitcroft, and then Pocono with Maggio out there as the winner.
Yeah, Maggio, he just threw it under the 93 of Berg. Now he's just trying to get to the inside of the 5 of Brendan Book. So far, not just yet. They're 3 wide as the 93 gets a little bit more grip. Who's going to be for the lead through 1 and 2?
3 wide for the lead. How about this? Joe Berg going for it on the high side, and he's going to have a huge momentum, but gets into the wall. It's going to slow him down just a bit, but not enough to lose the lead. Fantastic job for him. Hopefully he's going to be taking care of those tires. He's getting some bonus points out there, leading the field. Brendan Book trying to make his way back up there and take over that lead once again. And here he goes on that high side. It is the preferred line to make the pass for these cars.
Yeah, you just saw the 5 carry that momentum off the high side. He saw what the 93 did, said, hey, I can do that too. As he goes through 1 and 2, grabs a high line. It seems like he has a whole nother gear, but not so much. It really is just incredibly fast up there. When he was trailing Berg, he was able to come off of 4, pass him, and keep on going, as it looks like the 5 is going to take that lap lead uncontested. Joe Berg right behind, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, Brody Falker, and Steven Maggio. Right now, your top 5, Rivers Jones, P7. Tom Harmon just moved into P6, P8. John Honeycutt, Micah Allard, P9, and to round out the top 10, our driver spotlight, the one and only Matt Oplinger in that 20, up 8 spots.
Brendan Book still in the lead. The 93 going to tuck in behind him. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer sitting 3rd in line. We do have some 2 wide going throughout the field here. We have David Moransky going side by side with the 45 of Matt Sisler. These guys really going at it, and right in front of him is another battle with the 23 and the 13. That's going to be Jose Ruiz, and that 23 and the 13 is Joseph Turley, and now the 21 is pushing the 13 on that high side.
Yeah, unfortunately, 21, all kinds of in the wall. I imagine he got some decent damage to that Oreo machine. As it looks like 23, Jose Ruiz going to be able to get on by 45 and the 37. Go ahead and throw it low. A little bit of a gap now between the front, these middle 4 cars, and then another pack behind. Starting to see a little bit more separation here, Eliza.
Take a look at these drivers. Brendan Book getting a nice little gap over P2. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer going to send it down low, trying to gain some momentum to get up there to that lead. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, he's had quite another season here, but we have yet to see him in victory lane. I know he would love to see it. We have Brody Falker on that high side. He does have a win this season, and it is at Las Vegas for round 4. In season 5.
Look at this 42 all over the back end. He's going to go ahead and throw it deep into the corner. Looks like the 5 is going to go ahead and remain up on that high side. We've seen this play out before, so is he. The only thing you got to worry about, again, really grinding down those tires. Eventually, it's going to get so bad you're not going to be able to control it. But right now, Brendan Book continuing to hold on. 42 seems to be searching for which line works best for his car. Right behind them, the 00 and the 51, both side by side, as the 68 of Tom Harmon tries maybe a little bit of side draft, get that 51 to slow down while he goes ahead and throws it low.
I have a feeling a lot of these drivers are going to protect their position by holding on to that high side. You can see Brendan Book, he's staying up high around these corners, and Brody is having to send it down low, unable to take over that position. It is a great line to make sure you can hold on to it. But again, tire wear is going to be an issue. You have to make sure you're not going to wear those tires. We're getting into a long run here, 22 laps. Let's hold on to it. I love to see it, and I know you guys do too. I want to see how the tire is going to hold out in the long run. Are they going to get more loose? Are they going to get tighter? I've heard a little bit of both from the drivers.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a guy on pit road. William Roberts brought his number 94 machine to the attention of his crew somewhat early. Not quite sure if there's a little bit of strategy. Maybe he feels like it's falling off a little bit, or maybe not quite liking the way that his car was feeling in this middle, I would call it, of a long run. It'll be great to see around a green flag pit stops to see just how much this shakes this up, as the 5 of Brendan Book got very, very close to the wall there in the center of the corner. The 42 saw just how much he had to check up. He's able to dive underneath the 5 of Book and led that lap.
On board with Steven Maggio, and you can see he's down low. Up on the high side is going to be Brennan Book. Brody to the lead out here. Man, that was almost going to be spinning Brennan Book. So very, very close by Steven out there, but he is right in that high side. Take a look up ahead. Brody Folliker looked like he was getting a little loose coming around that corner off of 4. Very, very interesting, but here they go underneath that apron, trying to carry that momentum into the fourth corner.
Yeah, the top 2 cars, the 42 of Falconer and the 5 of Book, both of those guys down on the apron. Everybody else just kind of riding that white line in a line. No real 2x2 action behind. They're about single file for the top 5, top 6, going back to about the 61 of Micah Allard. But you also see Berg, Rivers, and Cardwell. Cardwell working his way back inside the top 10 now.
Yeah, starting to see a little bit of separation, a little bit of a gap between Rivers Jones and Jarrett Cardwell, but Jarrett kind of on his own little island, and right behind him is going to be Josh Taylor and Matthew Obliger. Matthew being our driver spotlight tonight. And Jose Ruiz not too far behind, sitting P12. He's got the short run speed for Jose. I want to see him do well in the long run. He's had just a series of bad luck going on in this season, and I know he's frustrated. He wants to have a good race, and I hope to see that for him. Andrew Sanford, and in that 37, he's sitting P13, and a new paint scheme looking really solid out there.
Yeah, and he's got Joe Turley right behind him. Joe was one of the fastest in practice. Right now finds himself up 4 spots to P13. I'm sorry, sits right where he qualified. Excuse me, sorry about that. Right there in P14, not P13. P14 was Matt Sisler, kind of keeping an eye on him as well as they make a little bit of contact.
Yeah, Joseph Turley running into some trouble. He's into that wall a couple of times now, and I know Evan has had to move around to try to make his way around and not get into the back end of his car here, so perhaps trouble for Turley on those tires. John Honeycutt sitting P17, down 13 spots, so I think a lot of drivers are having an issue on these tires and with how loose it is.
Could very well be, or maybe just saying, you know what, I'm in it for the long run. I see this green flag run, feels pretty good, feels pretty solid, no real issues, no beating and banging around me. I'm just going to be here, I'll ride, and I'll try to gain some spots in the later end when a lot of people have really used up their tires.
Freddie Folliker in that lead. Steven Maggio directly behind. Both drivers gaining 14 spots from where he started. Maggio hard into the wall. He is going to go dive down low. That's going to bring out our first caution as he got into a couple other drivers after making contact with that wall.
Yeah, Steve Maggio able to lock it down. He did make some contact with the front on the inside wall, but it was going very, very slow. I would imagine not too bad a damage since he didn't have to tow. He's looks like he's going to be good to go. I'll have to file a little bit of an insurance claim on that Aflac machine and get right back out on track.
Go on board with Thomas Harmon. Oh, it should have been Thomas Harmon. Let's see. Yeah, just slides across his nose. I'm kind of curious about the amount of damage that Harmon has to that 68 machine.
When I look at the front end of that frozen Chevy Camaro, really doesn't look like there's much damage at all. So looks like because they were still able to move forward, yeah, no harm, no foul in this. Maggio might have a little bit of damage to fix up, and good thing because it seems like the entire field coming down pit road on lap 30.
Here they come. I don't see a single driver staying out. Yeah, everyone has gone in, so no surprise there. Got to get the fresh tires, fill the fuel. We only have about 10 laps before the end of stage 1, and then we're in it for the long haul for stage 2 here.
Yeah, this absolutely helps the aid of Tom Flitcroft. He ended up going through the grass early in the beginning of the race, so he'll be racked and stacked right back up with everybody else, and he'll have a brand new run to go on after it. He didn't have to go down pit road to repair anything. He didn't have to grab new tires, no nothing like that. So Tom Flitcroft will be right back in the battle.
Brody Follick are going to be out there in the lead. Thomas Harmon second, Joe Berg third, Brennan Book fourth, and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer going to round out the top 5. And I've seen a lot of issues with Micah blinking out this race. I'm kind of curious if other drivers have seen that, because I can tell you a couple of times that I've seen it as a spectator and a broadcaster, other drivers did not, luckily.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's up 16 spots to P6. Rivers Jones in that number 91 right behind him for P7. Jarrett Cardwell sitting P8, so he made up a couple spots there on pit road. Matt Opplinger sitting P9, up 9 in that number 20, and Josh Taylor right now to round out the top 10. So we're gonna have a couple new guys up front. A little bit of a mix in the second half of the top 10. And from 11th through 20th, seems like some movement there as well.
Absolutely. You can see these guys just already keeping it pretty close as we are heading to the backstretch out here. Just getting ready, lining up, and very eager to go green once again. I know a couple of drivers were saying this is so fun. They love the loose sets. They love getting a little bit of a separation. We haven't seen too much of that. I think the first 5 or so laps are pretty chaotic, very, very tight quarters for these drivers. But then they start to spread a little bit after that. Still 2 wide racing throughout, but not 3 and 4.
Absolutely not. And I'm going to guess that 68 Frozen machine for Tom Harmon, no real damage. Not only is he back out on track, but he's starting outside for this restart. Got the 42 Brody Falliker about ready to nail that loud pedal. Joe Berg, Brendan Book, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, Eliza, we are going back green to start lap 33. Back green flag racing.
Yeah, here we go. Once again, a lot of movement already. That high side tucking it down the middle. The 61 keeping it up high. The 42 just looking really, really solid. But, man, these drivers are all over the place. I want to bring it to the blimp cam out here. Take a look at the 3-wide action. We have Brennan Book in the middle of the 61 and the 2. We have the 13 in the middle of man, the cameras are going nuts here. A couple of drivers blinking out. But the 13 in the middle of the 50 and the 48.
Yeah, back double file between the 5 and I believe that is the 61. Yeah, Micah Allard to his outside. The 61 and the 20 kind of blinking in succession, but they both look pretty steady now. The 2 of Josh Taylor fading back just a little bit. Didn't want to be any part of that as the 61 and the 00 make contact. 61 all over the back end of that 00. I don't know if Jurgensmeyer just went into the corner slower, or maybe the 61 tried that turn 3 and 4 wide open. But either way, a lot of contact, and 00 was able to save it.
Joe Berg back out to the lead. We saw him at the start of the race out front, and here he is once again. Brody Folliker going to be directly behind. Thomas Harmon diving it way down low as Brody's up high. Rivers Jones in 4th. He's going to have Jurgensmeyer bring it up high directly behind him, and that's going to round out your top 5.
Yeah, talk about going quick. Joe Berg just landed the fastest lap of the race, going Shake a Big Purple with a 31.25, Eliza. That is, 2/10 faster than a couple of the other drivers' bests as well. The only one that was close to that was the 00 of Jurgensmeyer a few laps ago. But Berg not only leading, loving the clean air, and trying to get away.
Absolutely. Let's bring it over to Rivers Jones. He is out there running that Izzy and Jay paint scheme. If you have not, check them out at izzyandjsoap.com. They have all natural soaps. You have the beard balm and the tattoo butter, all natural, good for you, and great for your skin.
Yeah, that 91 really trying to make some moves. Right now he's up to P3 as he falls back to P4, still up 8 or 9 spots. He's got a good car to pull off of in the 42 of Brody Falker, last season's champion. Now he's got Tom Harmon underneath, but he's got that high side. High side has had momentum all night long. If you're able to control it, as the 42 really trying to wrap and carry all that momentum up and off, 68 squeezing the 91 up towards the outside wall, but keeping it calm, keeping it collected, and we're staying green.
Yeah, I think he thought he was going to have enough room to bring it up high and saw that he wasn't, so he had to really let go of some momentum and make sure that he didn't make any contact with that 91. He's going to try to squeeze in behind. Joe Berg, meanwhile, he's looking really solid, but Brody Falker putting the pressure all over his back bumper heading into that first corner. He is going to fall back on that high side, but that momentum will bring him right back up there.
Yeah, look at Matt Opplinger, able to really make some moves on the bottom. He was able to throw it underneath the 5 of Book and the 61. Picked up a couple spots now underneath the 00 of Joe Berg. He was all over the left rear quarter panel of the 68 of Harmon. I'm not quite sure if he had to check up or not for just a moment. Falling back into the clutches of the 5 and 61 now. Just behind him, behind him is the 2 of Josh Taylor. I think Josh is there just kind of lingering. I don't know if he's up and pushing all that much just yet. He might be saving some stuff for later on. He saw what kind of green flag run we've had already.
Absolutely, and this tells you have to save your tire. Make sure that you are not going crazy with it. Don't drive the high side too long. If you have to go for a spot and you just can't get it done, sure, use the high side, but make sure it's not several lap battle because that's going to cost you in the long run. Meanwhile, Jarrett Cardwell, P10, and he's going side by side with teammate Jose Ruiz for FTR. Matt Sisler in 12th. Evan Canup, he is out there in 13th. Jamie Wright, 14th. And John Honeycutt going to round out your top 15.
Yeah, right now, Joe Turley in that number 13, down 2 spots to P16. Andrew Sanford in that 37. He qualified 17th. That's exactly where he still sits right now. Philip Bridgman, the lone Canadian in the field, in that number 24, up 6 spots to P18. The 48 down a few to P19, talking about Francis Hamilton, and the top 20 up 7 in that 11. Of course, the one and only Jimmy Cocker.
Yeah, we see him out there, and he's got Steven Maggio directly side by side with him in that 51 car. That high side, I'll tell you what, it is a beautiful thing up there. So fun to run against that wall. And as Pete said earlier, that's where Dale Earnhardt Jr. is saying slide job came from. So we'll see if we see any of that tonight. But Tom Flitcroft, 22nd. Luke Allen, 23rd. Gordon McGraw, 24th. And Matthew Gale out there, 25th. And man, these guys are so tight in this around 20 to 25th. You could literally cover them with a blanket.
Yeah, big old hornet's nest all the way through. Right now, 26, Brian Pizzicemi, who I've been looking to see if he'd be able to make up a little bit more ground so far. Not so much, but Eliza, he is always there at the end when the points are very much on the table. David Moransky right now sitting 27th in that 21 machine. We saw him up against the wall earlier. Looks like he was able to fix up that Oreo machine just a little bit and trying to gain some more ground. Matt Gale right now sitting in the 26th in that 67. Connor Cunningham in that 3. Number 3 test scheme. He was joking around a little bit that a little loose, a little tight on the budget rather. So much so they couldn't even move the number forward. Austin Mitty in 29th in that number 9 machine. Dylan Robb right behind him in that number 16 for top 30. 31st, William Roberts, saw him go down pit road earlier, and unfortunately Kevin Dalator not able to make it off pit road.
Yeah, I'm curious what happened to Kevin out there. I was talking to him earlier, so kind of curious. But Brody Falker out here in the lead. Joe Berg right behind him in that 93 machine. Rivers Jones in 3rd, up 9 spots. But so far, our biggest mover is going to be Evan out there in that number 63 machine. He gained 17 spots so far tonight.
Yeah, Evan Canup, very, very fast. He races a lot on Sunday nights in Mike Papa Bear Campbell's Turn Down for What iRacing Truck Series. And yeah, you can never ever count him out. Very, very consistent. He's another one of those drivers, Eliza, that you can never count out. If he ends up in some kind of a mess somewhere, yeah, maybe, but usually very, very consistent, very fast, knows how to take care of his equipment, and look for him at the end.
Go on board and have a look out the back of Brody Folliker. You can see, man, he's got that 93 directly on his rear right there. You can see Joe Berg, the scoreboard. If you have not tuned in, be sure to tune in. He's a lot of fun to listen to. Such a character out there. Go support him. I'm sure he would love it. And tell him that SnB Eliza sent you.
Yeah, I think the last episode I watched is when he had William Byron, Willie B, right after he won Daytona. And I mean, some of the questions that he was asking, really digging deep into the driver. Fantastic episode. And I'm sure the quality is just perfect each and every week. I definitely got to make sure I tune in more often. Does a whale of a job.
Absolutely. You know, we got a lot of talented drivers out here. Just so many painters and creators and you name it. Just all over the board out here. I love getting to talk to them and seeing what they're up to and what kind of other things they enjoy doing outside of iRacing. A lot of fun to see.
Yeah, one of the painters, John Honeycutt. You don't really talk to him all that much about painting cars. He made a really, really great Superman scheme last season, or maybe the year before that. Here he is bringing out a brand new one with Team FTR. Right now, John Honeycutt runs around P13, down a few spots on the evening. I'll look forward to seeing what he's capable of as the night rolls on. Right behind the 12 of Jarrett Cardwell, the 2 of Josh Taylor, and right now he's got the 03 of Jamie Wright to his inside.
Still a lot of side-by-side racing throughout the field here. I want to go on the blimp cam and just see. These guys are getting a lot more spread out, so I think some drivers are maybe holding on to their tires a little bit better, but take a look at that 61 going on the outside of the 42. And meanwhile, for third, they are going 3 wide. That's going to be Matthew Opliger, Joe Berg, and it's going to be Thomas Harmon.
Yeah, Tom Harmon, little squirrely off the high side. Got a little close to the door. I want to say that was the 93. Yeah, 93 able to keep it going. The 20 able to move on up a few more. Brendan Book, very consistent on that high side. Right behind his good old buddy Tom Harmon. 61 of Micah Allard leading the way. The 42 right there in tow as he's going to go ahead and throw it low. Could we see a slide job?
Take a look. He's not going to have enough to make it happen. And I don't know if he's going to be... Yeah, he squeezes into that high side right in front of the 68 of Thomas Harmon. And he's going to follow the 61 down to the bottom. Meanwhile, 3 drivers up back. They're going to stay up high with our second caution flying. Look, Allen, like Tom Flitcroft involved.
Yeah, Tom Flitcroft, unfortunately not having the best of evenings. I really thought with that All-Star win, we'd be talking to him a little bit more. But, you know, between the issues that he had last week and so far this evening, you know, taking the to the grass, he's gonna have to rebound in the second half.
Yeah, that's tough. You can just see him just hook him just a little bit, and it's just enough to spin him out there.
Yeah, spun him out, but no damage to either car. Both able to keep it off the inside wall and the outside wall. And good job by the 67 when he saw that happening to kind of lock it down a little bit. No real big issue behind him.
53 laps and our second caution. And Pete, we did a bad thing. We forgot about lap 40, the stage 1.
Oh, we did, didn't we?
So much racing, and we we let it go. But the top 10 drivers did receive bonus points based on where they finished. But we're on lap 54 for our second caution. So far, it's looking really solid out here. Unfortunately, Tom Flitcroft involved in this one. So a tough night for him so far.
Yeah, it looks like 3 drivers decide to stay out. Micah Allard in that 61 now, up 21 spots. He's gonna be the control car here. Right behind him, Rivers Jones and Francis Hamilton. All 3 of those drivers actually make that 4 with the 21 of David Moransky. All 3, now 4 actually make that 5. Austin Mitty. The last time they were on pit road was lap 30. So the guys behind them going to have 23 lap fresher tires after going down pit road under this yellow. I don't know if that was quite the way to do it. I mean, the 61, he was already the leader. So if he had come down pit road, he could have come down, got 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods, and been very, very fast. He probably would have been sitting P5 behind these guys that haven't been on pit road since lap 30.
Yeah, very
That's
interesting.
strategy.
That is definite strategy. So we'll see what happens. Evan on his way in. You can see him going in. Joseph Turley making his way into pit lane. So a couple of drivers going around that second time as they pass.
Yep, so it's going to be Mike Allard, Rivers Jones, Francis Hamilton, and David Moransky for row 2. Row 3 is going to be Austin Mitty with Tom Harmon. Brody Falliker and Matt Opplinger going to line up side by side. Stephen Maggio, last week's winner, with Brendan Book for 9th and 10th. Joe Berg and John Jurgensmeyer for row number 6. 7th row is going to be Jarrett Cardwell and John Honeycutt. Matt Sisler and Josh Taylor in the deuce. 17th and 18th is going to be Andrew Sanford with Jamie Wright. And our top 10 rows, Dylan Robb and Jose Ruiz. Down the backstretch, Eliza, lights atop the pace car are out. We're going to get ready to go back green. Top 5 all on 23 lap older tires. Going to have to fire off. 61's got to hope that getting through the gears doesn't see any big wheel spin. The 91 up on that high side. That side's already loose. This is going to be a whale of a restart. Could be a good test, or it could be a good big failure, depending on how this plays out.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised with how these guys did that. However, we do have 134 laps, and we're getting ready to go back to green, so we're about to find out. But, man, I think the guys on fresh tires are going to have to be very aware of how much these guys are going to be affected out front.
Yeah, 91 very, very ginger on that throttle pedal. Saw the back end kind of step out just a little bit, and that completely bogged down the outside line. You see the 68, 9, 43. They're going to try to make that 4 wide. Nope, the 9 moves on up in front of the 68, but he's going to keep it 3 behind him. The 48 of Francis Hamilton, he's going to try to dive it low underneath the 61 of Mike Allard. They are all racked and stacked right behind.
Take a look at the speed difference just from when they pit. The 68 just power move out to the front, just like a rocket. Absolutely incredible. These top 5 drivers are just going to struggle trying to keep it up there, but that 68 out front, the 42 and the 20 make contact. They hold on to it somehow, but man, oh man, things are a little sketchy out here currently.
Absolutely. One thing everybody in this field did not want to see, though, is that 68 of Tom Harmon. Harmon has had some horrible luck this season. Right now, he's in the lead with that frozen machine going into turns 1 and 2. Opplinger right behind. And then the 93 of Joe Berg. The man is masterful at saving fuel, saving tire. He knows how to get the best. He's been wrapped up in all kinds of issues throughout the season. But when he's leading the way, he's very, very hard to beat, Eliza.
Top 6 drivers making a gap, but man, there's so much movement throughout this field. Let's take a look at Austin Mitty, who has lost so many spots. He's now sitting 21st after staying out. We're going to see a lot of these drivers in the same predicament. We see David Moransky sitting 26 after starting out front on this restart. That is how much these old tires affect you. It is a huge risk, a definite strategy call, and we'll see how they go about it, moving it further past this race here. But lap 59 of 134, still a lot of racing left. Anything can change, but they're going to have an extra tire set to play with.
Yeah, Micah Allard, who was a control car on that restart all the way back to 20th, and Rivers Jones, who was to his outside, down now 22 spots in just these last couple laps after being to the outside on that restart. So Yeah, no tires after 30 laps. Definitely not what you want. We'll have to see how this plays out as we're getting closer and closer to this halfway. 2 yellows so far on the evening. Seen a lot of great pack racing so far, Eliza, but it's far from over.
Matthew Opliger, our driver spotlight for tonight. He is sitting in second, up 16 spots from where he started. Looking great, but Thomas Harmon still leading the way. I know he wants this win. He talks about it. When am I going to get this win? Something just always seems to happen. It's early in the race, but man, hopefully tonight could be his night. But the 20, he is looking for his 3rd win of the season and checking out down low, trying to see if he can make a move, but unable to just yet.
Yeah, it seems like 68 is absolutely mirror driving, keeping that 20 at bay. 68, he's like kind of guiding it right there in that middle line, seeing where the 20 goes, and then he comes on down to block it just like he did there, and then up and off the corner, opening up that wheel, letting the car eat and keeping it on track rather than going to the apron, nose to tail again into turn 1. It is just a freight train of cars.
Every time they head into a corner, they just absolutely fan out, but this field has definitely separated, and I think getting through the drivers who did not pit called for this separation here. And you see Luke Allen, he is going to be in 20th, and he's going to kind of lead the second pack, which is going to start with Micah Allard in 21st with Brian Pizzikimi to his outside. That's how separated these drivers are. If you take a look at the track map, that's a huge gap for these guys.
Couple new players inside the top 5, talking about the deuce right now of Josh Taylor. He brought the 03 and Jamie right with him, as the 2 is going to go ahead and throw it underneath the 20 of Opliger. 3 wide for the lead through turns 3 and 4. 2 of Josh Taylor keeping it way down. Who's it going to be at the line?
Harmon going to kind of go low and try to squeeze him just a little bit. He's got some help on his outside to help push. That's going to be Jamie Wright and that 03 on that high side. These guys, man, Thomas Harmon gets a nice run, going to go out in front, put a little bit more of a gap on 03 right there. Joe Berg, who's done amazing tonight, sitting P3. These guys going to take a look down low. Matthew Opliger on that middle line.
Yeah, Matt Opliger looking at that middle line. He's got the 93 right ahead. The 03 threw way down. The 68 tried to block, unable to do so. Once the 03 got to the apron, it kind of upset the balance of that machine just a little bit. 3 wide for P2, 68 kind of guiding it along that bottom line. A little bit of contact there between the 03 and the 20, both able to hold on. Josh Taylor fills up the rear view of that 03 going into the corner. Again, 0003 50 of John Honeycutt, 3 wide.
Yeah, he lost a lot of spots on that one, a little bit of contact, and it is so hard to try to hold on to it. You have a loose car coming through these exits, even at the start, and you can see a couple of drivers up ahead who are still making contact with the wall, even going into the corner. So this track can be very tricky.
Yeah, looking at the 11 right now of the one and only Jimmy Cocker in that Virginia Tech scheme. Haven't seen those colors for a while. Right behind the 2 of Josh Taylor, 23 Jose Ruiz right behind him. The 03 has gone from challenging for the lead, going back to about P9, P10. Just with that little bit of a checkup, he's got to try to gain that momentum, gain all those spots back as quick as he can. But you know what? If you can show that speed once, you can do it again. Or is he just kind of catching his breath a little bit after that near miss and gather everything back up and try again a little bit later on?
Thomas Harmon still in that lead with Joe Berg right behind. They are just holding steady, trying to take care of their machine and making sure they keep at least keep their spot. I know they want to gain a position, but it's a risk. You got to make sure that you have enough tire for it, and you really have to think about the moves you're going to make before you make them, because you don't want to cost yourself time and tire.
Wow, that 93 up on the high side, absolutely wheeling it able to come around the 68, completely cut down across the nose of that frozen machine. The 20 of Matt Oplinger just saw that. He's going to try the same thing, and it looks like it's going to be the same result. 93 pulls down across the 68's bumper onto the apron. Clear lead now for the one and only Joe Berg. Matt Oplinger to the outside of the 68, the 42 of Brody Falliker, and the 5 of Brendan Book. That's your top 5 0-0 right there in P6.
Yeah, Kansas is looking good on Joe Berg. He's having a solid run out here tonight. I know he would love to get a win, and I know that I would love to have him out here in the booth as a winner. We'll see what he can do. Brendan Book sitting P4th. Brody Falliker in 5th, up 10 spots. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer up 5 spots from where he started, P6. Josh Taylor in 7th. Andrew Sanford 8th, top 10 for him so far. John Honeycutt 9th, and Jarrett Cardwell, he's P10.
Yeah, P11 right now looks like Jamie Wright in that 03. Jose Ruiz right behind him for Team FTR, sitting P12. Tom Flitcroft, big rebound for him right now, sitting P13, up 16 spots as he battles with the 11 of Jimmy Cocker. And then behind them is going to be Matt Gale for P15, up 8 spots. 16th going to be the 45 of Matt Sisler. Jordan McGraw also for Team FTR, and that Sega number 34 is sitting P17. 18th, up 12, the one and only Connor Cunningham. 19th, Philip Bridgman, and 20th is going to be Brian Pizzicemi. Eliza Pizzicemi starting to make some moves. Very, very happy in practice. It's his time to shine.
We'll see what they can do. Luke Allen in 21st with Micah, who did not pit that last time. He is 22nd, right where he started the race. Francis Hamilton, we've seen a fantastic run for him this season. He currently sits 23rd. Won't be surprised if he makes his way back through. Stephen Maggio sitting 24th. We saw him up in the top 5 earlier on. Rivers Jones, same for him. He is down 13 spots where he started the race. We've seen him up front. He sits P25.
Yeah, again, last not least, the one and only, yeah, very loose. Austin Mitty, David Moransky, Evan Canop, Dylan Robb, and out of the race behind Joe Turley is going to be William Roberts and Kevin Dallator. But Eliza back up front, Brendan Book in that number 5 machine, able to get on by, and that Cincinnati Red machine looks very, very fast up front in that clean air.
Yeah, so many lead changes tonight. A lot of drivers just taking their way out to that front, and position changes are just insane out here. You can see still a lot, single file for the first 4 drivers and then a couple of 2 wide, but man, drivers are starting to get really spread out. Our top 19 drivers, I'll say, in this first pack. Then we have a couple of drivers just on their own little island. That's going to be Brian Pizzicemi with Luke Allen. And then behind him, Micah Allard is going to lead the next pack out here, and that's going to be about 4 cars.
Yeah, Brian Pizzicemi, like you said, all kind of by himself back there. Luke Allen behind, but ahead of Pizzicemi is Philip Bridgman, and that is just a huge, huge gap. Not quite sure what happened with Pizzicemi to where he lost the draft. I didn't see any kind of any kind of a notification pop up inside the broadcast software. I'm not 100% sure. He was down pit road lap 54, so he's on some newer tires. Something must have happened in the back of the pack.
Brendan Book, you can see the view out his rear of the car, and it's going to be Matthew Opliger. Nice momentum on that high side past Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. Meanwhile, Joe Berg going to take it down to the inside, trying to make a pass, unable to do so. They're starting to get stacked up once again from second on back. A few drivers trying to make the move. We'll see where it takes them, but man, take a look at Matthew directly behind. That was our driver spotlight. He was a little slideways through that corner.
Yeah, absolutely. That high side, very, very slick. But that is where, oh, it looks like the 93 is going to come around. So far, though, we're going to stay green for how long?
He manages to straighten it out, but not before he loses a ton of spots, and the 50 machine is going to go around. Not sure where that came from.
What you think you had there?
See if we can have a look.
Yeah, very unfortunate for the Superman colors for John Honeycutt. But he's able to, for the most part, looks like save it and lock it down as we saw Pizzichemi and the 7 come on by. And I'm guessing maybe the 50 was still trying to get back up to speed. The 8 just kind of made some contact with his back bumper.
Yeah, I know Joe Berg, he was trying to hold on to it, and you could see him moving up the track. I think that scared Honeycutt a little bit, and he took it up high and got a little loose trying to correct it there, but tough for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of lost track position. But hey, him and everybody else will come on down for a set of Eagle Feel Goods. And yeah, I'm sure he'll feel just like Superman on those brand new tires.
It'll be interesting. Are we going to have the drivers that did go in? Are they? Yeah, here they come again. I know Micah and several others did not go in. They are definitely looking forward to putting on some fresh tires. But man, if some of these guys are on their third set, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. They'll be fine, but they're going to definitely feel aware.
Yeah, 20 looked like he had a little bit more pit road speed than the 5 of Brendan Book as you saw him get into the back end of that Cincinnati machine. 00 of Jurgensmeyer and others. Everybody coming to the attention of their pit crew. You know that the 61 of Allard, the 91 of Rivers, and a few others that stayed out before, very, very happy about this caution. If that had gone to green flag sets, they would have been losing a ton more time, ton more track position, but this saved everybody that stayed out under the last yellow as we're now under caution number 3.
Like Dylan C. Rob just having a great run there. We'll have a chat with him. Dylan, it's Eliza in the booth. How you doing out there?
We're just riding around.
You're up 20 spots from where you started. Take us through your strategy so far. I know you said you're running around, but you made up some nice spots on pit lane.
I'm going to be honest with you here. I missed my pit box, so I'm coming back down.
All right. Well, sometimes that happens.
Yeah, I tried something different this week where I turn off everyone else's box, and next thing you know, I can't see my sign over all the other cars because they're so tall. So I didn't see my sign at all.
Well, hopefully
and
you get there safe.
My spotter said, turn in, and I turn in, and next thing you know, I'm in. There it is. I found it. Hey, there's no one else on pit road.
There he is. He made it safe and sound.
He made the pit road.
I wish you luck going on to the remainder of this race. We'll see if we'll find you up here up front. It's been a wild one. It's fast, but good luck moving forward.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. You heard it there from Dylan. These guys just wild out there. I thought he had some miraculous pit stop there, and nope, I just missed it.
I wonder if anybody has ever told him in that picture. I get like John Candy vibes. I don't know.
Oh,
but
I can totally see that. Like just the humor and he's a character, man. I'll tell you.
Yeah, he is. Dylan's he's a lot of fun to talk to. But Eliza back up front. I tell you, the 5 of Brendan Book and the 20 of Matt Opplinger, they were battling it out before that yellow came out. Well, now the 20's got to have a great restart because as a control car, you always have that little bit of an advantage when talking about the 5 of Brendan Book. He's got the 68 of Tom Harmon, the 00 of Jonathan Jurgensmeyer has been very, very fast. But how about Connor Cunningham in that number 3 of 20? I thought I just saw him. Okay, off 24 of 25 spots as we go back green inside the top 5 for that 3 machine.
Absolutely, but not a great start for Matthew Oppliger on that outside, just struggling. In the 3, it seemed to get a little loose, so he's going to stack up the field. The 2 has to just fly up high to not make any contact, and now you're going to see that 8 behind him now. Not much of where he can go, but man, 3 wide for several rows. These guys getting very sketchy out here, and we're going to go 2 wide on the apron.
Yeah, coming up off the apron again, very, very touchy, especially when you're 3 or 4 wide through there. The 8 and company, as he's going to pull underneath the 3 of Connor Cunningham. You got the 6, I think that's going to be the 37, and then the 2, possibly. I don't know, these car numbers absolutely flying through. And man, what a set of laps on all of these restarts, as I see you back there with the 3 as he continues to fall backwards.
Just a lot of movement throughout the field, but what we're finding is Matthew Opliger in this lead, Brody Folliker in second, Brennan Book in third, and some movement from Jarrett Cardwell, who almost got into that 68, but they're still moving. We see Josh Taylor moving around, a lot of people just going for position still, and it creates, that 68 flying up high and manages to catch it before he hits that 00.
How about the 12 of Jarrett Cardwell right now sitting P3 in that number 12 for Team FTR. Jarrett Cardwell's got tons and tons and tons of starting speed, but it kind of falls off a little bit in the long run. I'd like to see him kind of save a little bit if he can. Right now up on the high side behind last season's champ of Brody Folliker. Brody going to carry that momentum around the high side of the 20. 12 absolutely pushing through the 00 right behind him. The 2 of Josh Taylor right now sitting P5.
These drivers talk a lot how they like the loose sets because it lends to the separation of the field, and it helps thin it out a little bit, make sure that it's not so chaotic. So these restarts, I can only imagine what they're feeling and what they're going through. It's just so chaotic, and a lot can happen in a short amount of time. You have to be aware of your front, your rear, your sides, you name it. And if you make one single tiny mistake, it could just take out several drivers. That's how close this is. You can see how many drivers are out there. And speaking of that, you guys in chat, let me know, who do you have winning? We've talked about it a couple of times. Who do you have? David, we're doing good. I hope you are too. Thanks for coming out here and keeping us some company as Brody's leading the field currently, and he's got Matthew Opliger coming up right behind.
Yeah, a little bit of almost a little bit of contact. The 00 of Jurgensmeyer got up to the left rear of the 12, tried to pull him back, and then threw it down into the banking going into the corner. Tried a little bit of a slide job, as it wasn't able to make it happen, as Jarrett Cardwell still running the Kyle Larson line all the way around. Opliger not quite clear. The 42 loving everything that he sees behind because Eliza, they're all stacked up.
Big Papa Bear says Josh Taylor. He's sitting at P5, having a great run tonight. You can see him on that outside with smoke on that hood. Starting to thin out a little bit, Pete, but man, I say that and you can see drivers just all over each other, but that just goes to show you how chaotic it is here at Kansas. Every line you can make work, and that's exactly what these drivers are doing.
Absolutely. 12's trying to see if that bottom line is going to work as he dives underneath the 42 of Brody Folliker. He's going to be able to come up and off the corner, but that high side momentum is going to absolutely carry through. At the line, I believe the 12 of Jarrett Cardwell just led his first lap this evening.
Well, see, it was extremely close, and he's still hugging that apron down there. Has a little bit of a nose out, but that high side momentum might carry Brody. Yeah, there he goes. 12 gonna tuck up. Josh Taylor gonna dive down. Just, again, musical cars out here at Kansas.
Musical cars at 170 mile an hour. Why not? Josh Taylor able to slide up in front of the 12 of Jarrett Cardwell. So move smoke old Josh Taylor up to P number 2, right behind the 42. Behind him, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, Matt Opliger. Opliger staying pretty much inside the top 5 all night long as they battle 3 wide for P number 3.
12
and Jarrett Cardwell's going to go around. Lock it down, lock it down, lock it down. Oh, make some contact to the inside wall.
Man.
No caution yet.
I can imagine that there's no caution. That's crazy. I'm trying to find him. Where's he at, Pete? What position?
He's all the way in back. Yep, right now running P30. Jamie Wright just got on by him, so no caution because he was way down on the apron, nowhere near the racing groove. Very, very unfortunate for Cardwell. Was just showing tons of speed and had great track position.
He got hooked by the 20. They were 3 wide. Managed to, man, you would think he would have more damage, but I don't see too much damage on his right side there. Very interesting.
Yeah, I think he was kind of saved by not hitting that first wall. I know there's probably only 6 or 8 feet to that second bit, right where the iRacing tow truck sets. But hey, that last little bit could save some possible minutes on pit road getting fixed up.
He's got to be extremely frustrated. He's been having great runs out here, and tonight was another one. So he will have to go in and get any repairs done that need to be. But so far, looks like he is staying out, and he just needs a caution. I know that's what he's hoping for at the moment. You can see the 51, Stephen Maggio, hugging that apron, moving back up the track around the exit. And hopefully these guys start to spread out a little bit, but I know Jarrett Cardwell, he's saying, caution, please come out.
Absolutely. One guy that just had a near miss, the 2 of Josh Taylor, the 00 slid up in front of him. Josh made a hard left down the bank. He was able to take that spot back, still sitting P2. Jurgensmeyer, Harmon, Matt Opliger sitting inside the top 5. Brendan Book right now sitting 6th. Stephen Maggio, Tom Flitcroft, Joe Berg, and Philip Bridgman rounding out the top 10. Right now, pretty good run for Philip.
Andrew Sanford is going to be 11th with Rivers Jones in 12th. We talked a lot about him, and he is ripping that high side going into turn 4, coming into the tri-oval here. Micah Allard up 9 spots, sitting 13th. Joseph Turley, 14th. We saw him up front quite a bit. Jimmy Cocker in 15th, Jose Ruiz in 16th, Jordan McGraw 17th, and John Honeycutt 18th. Evan Canup is out there 18th now. They're switching positions on me. And 21st is going to be Luke Allen with Francis Hamilton 20th.
Yeah, you got to love when they mess with you, right? As you're trying to go through. Matt Sisler with Luke Allen, 21st, 22nd. Fizikemi right now. Brian, that is, 23rd, up 8 spots after starting tail end Charlie again this evening. Austin Mitty, 24th, with Matt Gale. Dylan Robb, 26th. Dave Moransky, 27th. Connor Cunningham sitting 28th. That must have been a bigger mishap than what we saw, Eliza. I'm not quite sure if he's got some damage on that number 3 machine. Jamie Wright in that 03, 29th. Jarrett Cardwell, after that spin, relegated to last in the field this evening. William Roberts out of the race. And again, unfortunately, not quite sure what happened with Kevin Delator, unable to make it off the grid.
Coming up on 100 laps here at Kansas Speedway. It's been an amazing race, a lot of close racing out here, side by side. Thomas Harmon really diving it down low heading into the corner here. We'll see if he can't make up any spots, but like I said earlier, I think a lot of these drivers, if you want to hold on to your spot, you're really going to have to hold on to that high side. Make them take the bottom, but again, it's a fine line because that high side is going to tear your tires up. So you have to pick and choose and win and what you're going to do.
I tell you what, one guy, big shout out to the one and only Tom Flitcroft, winner of our All-Star race at Texas Motor Speedway Legacy. Right now sitting in P7, up 22 spots. Right now, if there was a hard charger award in Shake and Bake and we were thinking about it around lap 100, he would be it, as I see something going on with Andrew Sanford.
Yeah, let's see if we can take it back to Sanford. I'm trying to go back there with him, but I saw him when I was on board with he just got tagged by the 61, and nothing he could do, just down to the inside wall. And I almost think it's the same exact spot that we saw Jarrett Cardwell go down just a moment ago.
Yeah, just unfortunately hooked, and even though he had that thing locked up, he hit pretty hard with the right front, spun around a little bit. He's going to have to hope for a caution as well because we stayed green.
Freddie Folliker starting to put a little bit of a gap over the field here. You can see him 2/10 over 00 of Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, so a great run for him. The top 3 drivers a little spread out. Matthew Opliger, he was going side, just looked like he was trying to warm up his tires at an incredible amount of speed. So very interesting out here, getting a little loose as he had a push from Stephen Maggio. Single file for our top 5 drivers, and then we're going to go 2 wide a couple of cars throughout the field.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the 8 and the 24, the Virginia Tech scheme for the one and only Jimmy Cocker. All these guys back here, Joe Turley up on that high side in that number 13 as Evan Knopp in this 63. Now he's got the 48 Detroit Tigers machine of Francis Hamilton right behind. Yeah, a little bit of a hornet's nest back here. High side, low side, some running that middle. But everybody right now really minding their P's and Q's. You were talking earlier about the track awareness and listening to their spotters and doing everything that they can. That is just pure seat time and racecraft at its best. These guys have been doing a phenomenal job. Big improvement from what we saw at Pocono last week. A bit more patience being displayed here, and everybody really kind of racing each other as they'd like to be raced.
We're on board with Jose Ruiz, and you saw him almost make contact with that wall. Had to just be on the wheel 100% to try to keep it off there and not hit anyone below him. But it is a tough track. It is loose out here, the high side, from what I'm hearing from drivers. A ton of fun, but man, it can be hazardous. You can see the 24 up ahead. He was going sideways, fishtailing back and forth. It can be chaotic out here.
Yeah, 13 really ripping the wall, 24 in the middle. Brian Fitzgibbon on the bottom in that number 78, trying to take 2 spots in one corner. Not quite sure, don't think he's clear the 24. And the 23 of Jose Ruiz says, you know what? Here we go, 4 wide, down low. And man, going through turns 1 and 2. 48 ripping it up high, very loose. 24, and it looks like the 78 able to excel through. 23 is going to be able to follow. Back double behind him. One big moment there.
23, we talked about him trying to get back a little bit of a luck. He's just not had great luck this season and involved in a lot of chaos. And you can see him taking up 4 wide there, making his way past. A huge power move for him in that 23 machine as he's up to P16. But he had a great qualifying run, so he's down 14 spots from where he started. I know he's got to be frustrated, but man, I'm wondering if he's having a lot of fun out here on that high side.
I have no doubt. One guy that wasn't having a lot of fun on that high side just a moment ago, talking about the 9 of Austin Mitty, all kinds of contact to the right rear. That allowed the 45 to come up and close in and pass him. Talking about Matt Sisler right now in 22nd. Jordan McGraw, a lot of speed in practice, was struggling just a little bit with the handling. So I'm looking to see if Jordan McGraw is going to be able to rebound here now that we're less than, we've passed the century mark. Looks like we've got getting closer and closer to 25 to go.
Yeah, it's coming down here. Lap 107 of 134 coming up on 108, and I see out there, David, hope you're doing well. Hi to all the Davids. I know there's a couple out there, but Brody Folliker leading the field. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in second. Matthew Opliger, he's out there P3. Brennan Book 4th. Josh Taylor 5th, and Lachito, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well out there.
Yeah, right now, Tom Harmon in that frozen number 68, sitting P6 with Steve Maggio again in that Affleck machine. Tom Flickroft, after spinning through the grass to start this race, now up 21 spots to P8 in that number 8. Joe Berg down 8 to sit P9. Evan Knopp in that golden number 63, getting closer and closer to that top 10 as Rivers Jones just worked his way on by.
Sure did. Look at that high side working its magic, and you have the 63 on the inside. A lot of drivers trying to go wherever they can as this lap is winding down to the finish here, and it looks like we might have had some trouble for another driver. I'm trying to see, but Jamie Wright makes his way onto pit lane and spins it going into pit road. He's going to have to turn it around and try to get going where he needs to go, but man, unfortunate circumstance for him.
Yeah, it looks like he might have had just a little too much brake bias in that thing. So when he tried to slow it down to pit road speed, just nothing doing there. Had to bring it around, grab a gear, and get to his pit stall. I'm sure he's probably going to grab a set of brand new Eagle Feel Goods to get on back out there. Meanwhile, at the front, it's all the 42. He's got that high side on lock. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer still sitting P2. Matt Opliger, our driver spotlight for this evening, holding on to P3 with a mirror full of Brendan Book.
Josh Taylor hard into the wall. Now he goes 3 wide with the 51, Steven Maggio, on the middle part of that track, and the 68 down low, and they're going to play musical chairs on the track versus the lines here. They are still on the move, and that's going to be from 5th to 7th for the spot as they are still trying to go 2 wide at least, and 68 finally makes his way by.
Yeah, I saw the 51 get on by as well. Almost a little bit of contact there between the 51 and 68. The 51 was able to get on by the 2, and the 2 tried to pull a crossover as he goes back 3 wide again, this time with the 93 and the 8 of Tom Flitcroft. The 2, the meat in this sandwich, 3 wide through the corner. So far, it looks like the 8's going to come out better.
Very close. The 2 into the wall again. This is getting a little crazy. I'm wondering if he's got any damage to that right front. We've seen him tag it a couple of times, but Brody Fowler looking for his 2nd win of the season as they're almost a second behind him, going side by side, which will definitely help him out. That's going to be Matthew Upliger and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in that 00. We'll see if they continue to race, but Brendan Book right behind him. Is he going to take it 3 wide, or is he just going to try to follow the 00 through?
Well, 00 is where you're at. I'm looking at double deuces for 22 laps remaining here from Kansas Motor Speedway with the iRacing Shake and Bake Gen 6 Cup cars. It's been a phenomenal race. Right now, Brody Fowler in the lead, and it looks like this Camaro, Eliza, it is just all kinds of hooked up. I see him up on the high side. He looks very, very comfortable. I don't see him having to flirt with the wall. It doesn't look like he's getting loose off the corner. This car looks like it's on rails. Anytime we see this 42 in the lead, especially with a brand new scheme aboard, he's usually pretty tough. I think if caution doesn't fly, this might be a lock for Brody.
We'll see. They are, I would assume, having to make another pit stop here before the race is over. They're on lap 34 on this tire run. I believe they can make it just over 40, I would say. So I think we're going to start to see these drivers come in, and, you're going to have to be perfect with your stop, Brody. While these guys were battling behind him, he gained another 2/10 over the field. So that's going to help him out. That's what he needs to see. And the rest of these guys are going to have to quit going side by side to try to close that gap. And they have just a 10th or so. Since then, you can see him single file quite a bit ways back. But I'm kind of curious. When are we going to see this pit stop?
I tell you what, when it happens, I think a strategy is going to be abound. I think the 42, the 20, the 00, as well as the 5 of Brendan Book, maybe even the 68 of Tom Harmon, they might want to think about just 2 tires to see if that plays out. Hold the track position. Try to get your best entrance, carry all kinds of aggressive speed, woe it down right at the line, have the best possible pit time, and then get on back out, get up to speed without having any kind of issues. Make sure you don't merge before the blue cone, and see where that all carries you. But I think I think we're going to see some varying strategies. I don't think we're going to see 4 very much.
You can see Steven Maggio out there in that 51 machine, just kind of riding that seam, letting it carry him through the corner, and you can see him fishtailing a little bit. You can hear the tires squealing. His tires are not exactly excited to be out here currently, but Brody Fowler just at over a second lead over second. So these guys have definitely closed down a couple of 10s. And you see Steven Maggio trying to keep that clean air, diving it down low behind that 5 car. And Thomas Harmon, he's going to lose a little bit of momentum as he was on that low side.
Something, I'm not quite sure what it was. Something happened with the 67 and Matt Gale a little bit further back. You were covering the 42, the 20. This is the biggest lead we've seen all night long out of any driver of the multiple drivers that have led a lap or more. The 20 still trying to stalk. He wants win number 4 on the season after winning last week. The 00 Jurgensmeyer, he wants to get the victory lane. So does Brendan Book, Tom Harmon, as well as everybody else in this field. But I think they're going to have to take it from the 42. We'll have to see what happens on that pit stop, should it be under green.
I can't imagine that they've been saving. There's no way They've just been racing too hard. If they stay out this entire time, Pete, I'm going to be blown away. I just don't see how it's possible, but Matthew Opliger definitely closing that gap a little bit. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but if these guys do pit, that's going to shake things up quite a bit. And then you see these 4 drivers extremely close. It's going to be Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, P3, Brendan Book 4th, Thomas Harmon 5th, and Steven Maggio out there in 6th with Tom Flitcroft. He's up 22 spots, sitting P7, and he's got a gaggle of cars behind him.
Yeah, Tom Flitcroft again. Big shout out to him for the recovery. Kind of riding around right now with our leader, Brody Falliker, in the cockpit. And Eliza, he's not saving. He is getting out of the throttle gently, getting back in it right in the as soon as he feels the nose of that car set, and right back on the gas again. So he's not saving at all. He's full bore ahead.
Our leader blinking out a little bit. Kind of curious how their car is feeling, what they're doing out there. The gap is now just at 1 second. Brendan Book a little further back, and take a look at this battle. He dives low. Thomas Harmon going to be behind him, and the high side is going to hold Jonathan Jurgensmeyer and Steven Maggio. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer goes around an incredible save. I don't know how he did that.
Wow. I mean, Eliza, that's yet another demonstration on how good the drivers here in Shake and Bake really are. That was huge. I mean, we were reading the numbers on the side of that car as he's trying to save that thing. And while that all happened, that allowed the 8 of Tom Flitcroft to move up to P6 right behind him. And then you've got Josh Taylor, Mike Allard, and Jimmy Cocker to round out the top 10 as Mike Allard makes a little bit of contact with that outside wall and made the 11 of Jimmy Cocker have to drive a little bit carefully as the 61 continues to tag that outside wall. And look look who, I shouldn't say look what's coming. You could say look what as far as in that 78, but as in who? Brian Pizzichemi working his way on up right now, sitting P11 up 20 spots.
Sure is. And man, Micah Allard looks like he is struggling with the handling of that car currently. Just not a good time for him, but Brody Falliker has now increased that gap after that mishap earlier on and quickly closes it back up. Very interesting. I was going to say he's got to be on that high side, and there he is on that high side. How are they not going in, Pete? What is happening right now?
I don't know. I think I guess they figure the first one to blink is going to be the loser. I honestly don't know. Maybe they're waiting on that caution. Maybe they're waiting on a wave of people to go on down pit road and somebody to have an issue like the 03 did where he spun out. Yes, we didn't see a caution, but I think if we saw more contact going down pit road, caution would fly. Right now, I think that 42 is in save mode. Maybe he's not saving gas, probably has enough to go the distance, but saving tire. You saw when Opliger was starting to close in, he had it to just about a second, little under a second, and then the 42 kicked it up. He gained another 10th over the 20. So I think the 42, he's in race management mode, just saving those tires. If he's got to push it, he will. Other than that, he's just kind of backing it down and managing his time.
Just an incredible job for Brody out here trying to get that second victory in the season, but Matthew Opliger still going to be P2, Brendan Book 3rd, Steven Maggio 4th, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer 5th, Flitcroft 6th, Josh Taylor 7th, having a fantastic race, Thomas Harmon 8th, lost a couple of spots out here. Jimmy Cocker going to dive down low, going side by side. He's currently 9th. Micah Allard, who we saw on the wall a couple of times. Hopefully he can hold on to it with 8 to go. Apparently my assessment of their situation was completely wrong, as I thought they would have to go in. So far they are staying out with 7 to go.
Yeah, everybody's fighting for that top 10. Right now sitting P11 is going to be John Honeycutt in that Superman machine for Team FTR. Behind him, Joe Berg, a big improvement in his driving this evening. He led a whole bunch of laps, really up front battling. Right now sitting P12. P13, Jose Ruiz, also up there earlier as the 78 of Brian Pizzicemi goes to fly underneath him. Evan Knopp there in that gold number 63, sitting P15. 16th is going to be Rivers Jones in that Izzy and Jay Sopco, looks like Ford Mustang. Matt Sisler in the 45. 17th, 18th is going to be Francis Hamilton in that Detroit Tigers number 48. 19th, Jordan McGraw for Team FTR and Sega. And of course, Francis Hamilton and Joe Turley to round out the top 20. Eliza, we're starting to close in. Next time Brody Fowler comes on by the start stripe, there's going to be 5 laps to go here from Kansas. It's been a phenomenal race. So far, Matt Oplinger has been able to close in a couple tenths. I think it's going to be a big finish.
We might see a 2-wide finish out here, but their top 3 drivers have broken away from the remainder of the field. So Steven Maggio gonna kind of lead this second group out here, and you can see just a lot of drivers wanting his spot. So Steven is gonna have to try to secure that, and I know he's gonna try to do that by holding out that high side. But you can see his car really struggling out there as he gets loose up on that high side.
Yeah, the 8 of Tom Flitcroft had the same exact issue, but as the 51 had to check it, here's the 8 able to pounce. He's going to try to take it underneath. Nope, not going to be there. The 51 dumping all kinds of dirty air on the 8's nose. That might actually help the 8 a little bit, tighten up that Bud machine. Ooh. Same thing with the 68 of Tom Harmon. As you mentioned, Josh Taylor having a great run, sitting P7. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, Jimmy Cocker, and Micah Allard, the top 10 battle right now, Steven Maggio.
Yeah, that 00 was on the back bumper of that 2 machine, getting him extremely loose, almost lost it, and he's really putting the pressure on him. I'm not sure how much Josh Taylor appreciates that, but Brody Folliker staying very consistent out here in the lead, and he's got the 67 coming up high. A little bit of a scare right there, as I guarantee wasn't sure if the 67 was going to come all the way up, but that is his first lap car that he's going to encounter up here. We'll see who's going to be next. We're going to have 27th, which is Connor Cunningham. He will be next to pass, but 2 to go. I don't know if he's going to get there, Pete. He still has half a second lead over P2. Matthew trying to get his 3rd win. Brody trying to get his 2nd coming up on the final lap here soon.
Yeah, I don't think the 20 has enough time. I don't think we're going to see that, although I'd love to see a spectacular finish side by side, see who gets there. We've seen it before, but this 42 looks bad fast. He still looks very secure coming up and off the corners. White flag out. Brody Fowler looking to take the checkers next time by.
Yeah, here he comes, and we saw Tom Flitcroft in a 3-wide battle that was going to be for 4th. He currently has it after some mayhem earlier on, but let's have a look at Brody Fowler as he is on the backstretch. 7/10 almost in front of Matthew Opliger, who was getting loose coming off that exit. But we're going to bring Brody Fowler home. 2nd-time winner in Season 5. Here he comes, getting ready to go across that start-finish line. Gets the win here at Kansas Speedway. Fantastic job. Matthew Opliger going to finish out 2nd. Brennan Book 3rd. Tom Flitcroft, he secures P4. Steven Maggio going to round out your top 5.
Yeah, Tom Harmon 6th, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer 7th in that 00. Josh Taylor, again, great night for him, sitting P8, P9. Micah Allard, Brian Pizzicemi to round out the top 10. How about it? Week in and week out, he starts in shotgun all the way in the back and works his way on up. But tonight, it's all about that number 42 for Brody Fowler, Team FIWB, and RJ Creative on board. I'm sure he's going to have a great smoke show as the rest of his teammates come on up to congratulate him.
Absolutely. We're going to let him celebrate. He's got a lot of drivers celebrating with him. Just great to see it out there, securing that 2nd win of the season. And he is in the chase for sure, getting ready to celebrate out here. Man, let's have a look at this burnout.
He's going to rip up the grass. Kind of brings back the old, Dale Earnhardt when he finally won his Daytona 500 after 20 years of trying. Here he is, just great to see Brody very, very strong every single week. I could recall when this driver was finishing second after second after second, and we told him, you can't finish second forever. What happened last year? Went on and won the championship as his second win this season so far. He's, as you mentioned, a lock for the playoffs. I think he's going to be just as strong all season long. The field is on notice, Eliza.
Yeah, our Xfinity champ out here in victory lane twice this season, and he's got a great paint scheme to boot here. Brody, man, what a consistent run you had out here. Take us through, how was your run at Kansas, and how did you secure the win?
Thank you. I didn't really have a whole lot of practice leading up to this race, so I didn't really know how it was gonna go. But I just figured with, how the draft works, in this car, you're probably gonna want to keep track position. So I battled real hard all race for track position and got it, right at the end, and just kept it. Um, the top was definitely where you wanted to run, especially in the long run. That was the only place that you could really, make time. It kind of felt like a NASCAR Heat 5 race.
Oh, wow.
I'm surprised. How much did it wear your tire out being up top?
Um, well, it was, or at least the first few runs that we had, 20, 30 lap stints. It was wearing the rears worse than the fronts. And that's kind of why I was trying to go to the bottom as much as I could and try to wear out the right front, even it out a little bit. It was just really tight on the bottom, and you know, uh, in the last part of the run, where they got side by side beside me, I was like, all right, it's go time. If I can't lose the draft right here, I'm not going to. So I committed to the top and ran away with it.
Your last stint was 55 laps, and I was really surprised you guys didn't go in. So, take us through, how was your fuel, and how did you keep that thing out there?
Well, I think I had within 2 laps of fuel left. Um, I had auto fuel on. Luckily, it didn't mess me up. Um, as far as my tires, they were pretty even, 54 and 55 on the right
Nice.
sides.
Very nice. Well, man, you kept it consistent. I was looking at the time, and Matthew caught you a couple of tenths at the end there, just unable to do it. So, great win for you tonight. You got your second win of the season. It's great to see you doing well. And how do you feel about next week?
Uh, where do we go next week? I haven't looked at the schedule.
Iowa.
Iowa. Oh, that should be fun. These 750 racetracks, they've been putting on good shows. I'm assuming that's what it is, but yeah,
Should be.
yeah, and Matthew was definitely making me sweat. Work for it at the end. I was getting nervous. Shout out to Rivers for the new scheme. He is awesome with paint schemes. And then shout out to the FIWB boys.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations. Another great night for you and another win to boot.
Thank you.
All right, Pete. We have our driver spotlight in the booth. So I'm happy to say that there was no booth jinx. So that's a good thing. I'm happy to report. But yeah, let's take it over.
All right, Matt, it's Pete. I tell you, phenomenal race all night long. I mean, you're up 16 spots, so qualifying probably didn't go the way that you wanted. But when all their, when it's, what's done is done. Here you are, yet another podium after last week's win. Momentum definitely seems to be on your side. Walk us through your race, any challenges, tribulations, and then how it feels to be yet again able to come away with a top three.
Well, I wish I won last week, but I didn't. But um,
I'm sorry, you're
anyway,
right. 51-1. I apologize.
you're good. I don't know. I only got one lap of practice in, like I said before, so just I didn't really know how to qualify. I just qualified what 18th or whatever. So yeah, I just first run. I was just trying to get up to the front. Um, hopefully get up there top 5, top 10 uh with everybody else that was starting back there, like Brody and Tom and Maggio. But I wear it at my right front and too much at the end of the first stint, and I was just hoping I could figure out how to figure out to the end, and then luckily we had like a 50 lap run or something to the end, and
Yeah.
just kept it with Brody somehow. Just didn't have enough. I think we were just too even on pace. It was really fun though, trying to chase him down, but didn't have enough to get to him.
When we got to about 10 or 12 laps to go, the biggest runs that we saw during practice were between 30 and 40 laps. Did you think that some people were going to go on down pit road? Were you hoping that somebody would have some kind of an issue, a caution would come out, or were you perfectly content with the long run?
Um, yeah, I was pretty content with the long run. I think I do better on longer runs. As the tires wear out, I feel like I gain more confidence more than other people. But it was just one lane. The top lane was so dominant on the longer run, so I just couldn't get any clean air, and then the draft effect wasn't as strong as I was hoping it would be those last 10 laps. So just couldn't quite get to him. Maybe another 10 laps, maybe, but that's all hypotheticals.
All right, next week we head over to corn country. What do you think about Iowa, and can you maybe get one spot better?
Yeah, if I was 750, I think I can do great. I feel like I do better in those than the 550s, and I already kind of do pretty good in the 550s, I'd say. But um, I think it's just gonna be more long runs at Iowa. You have to save your tires early, and hopefully, no cautions come out, and then might see some really good racing. I feel like Iowa could be like 3 lanes, um, top, middle, and bottom. It'll be really fun.
All right, well, congratulations on yet another podium finish. We'll see you next week. Eliza, that 5 car, very, very strong yet again. Brendan Book is with you.
Yeah, another consistent driver out here tonight. Brendan, you finished 2 spots better than where you qualified at, still at the front most of the race. Take us through your race and how you rounded out the top 3.
Yeah, first, just want to say congrats to Brody and then Matthew there for also getting on the podium, and also to everybody else in the race. I mean, that was a really good race. I know we had a struggle last week, but glad to see everybody keep it clean and only have 3 cautions. And um, yeah, for me overall, I mean, I think it was just I wanted to run hard enough to maintain track position, which I think I did that for the most part, but then not, go overkill. I definitely needed a good points day, so I wasn't trying to put myself in any crazy positions, at least in the first 100 laps or so. Even though there was one point when I was like 3 wide against the wall on the outside of Berg and Matthew there, and I was like, I'm either gonna die or I'm gonna make it through and somehow live to see another day. Um, but yeah, I think overall it was a really good race. Like, I thought it was pretty strong there at the end. I thought I was making some headway, and then I realized I was killing my right front, just sending it on the bottom, trying to catch those two. But I'll still take a third after how my season's gone.
Absolutely. Was it harder to pass? Okay, where was it easier to pass at? High side or low side?
Who was in front of you, and how crazy and how deep did they drive in the corner? Honestly, I didn't think it was that hard to pass. I know some people might think not. And then, granted, the furthest back I was maybe 10th. But I thought if you really wanted to make a pass, you could make it happen, whether it was the outside or the inside. Obviously, in general, when you're making passes, you're using a little bit more of your tire. So you obviously have to balance that out of how much you want to do that. And obviously, Brody, he made sure to get to the front, get that clean air, because you're obviously, you don't have to worry about the dirty air making you get really tight, which I think that was the biggest struggle. Like if somebody crossed your wake or you crossed behind somebody's wake, it was just right to the wall. But well, yeah. So I think it was able to pass pretty well in my opinion.
All right. And next week at Iowa, how do you think you're going to do?
Uh, Honestly, I was probably one of my favorite short tracks. So I think I can run top 10, top 5. I don't think I'm going to be anything near a winning there. Although I do have a win in this car in another league like 3 years ago, so maybe that will, do something for me. Not that I remember how to drive the track, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm obviously just trying to go for good finishes at this point in the season for playoffs.
All right, you heard it there from Brendan Book. Next week, Pete, Iowa. I love that track. As these drivers said, you can take it any lane. I think it's going to be another fun one in the books for these drivers. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I can't wait either. And we're getting closer and closer to the start of the playoffs where the pressure really starts to mount. Iowa is just another, or will be another notch for somebody to grab a W. Will be a first-time winner. We'll have to wait and see.
All right, guys, that is it for us. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we appreciate it, and I know the drivers do. We'll see you next Monday night, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a great week.